It's important to do as well as you can in your classes because your GPA is very important to colleges. However, there are factors other than your grade point average that are considered in the college admissions process, especially for smaller and medium-sized schools that use a holistic process. Colleges are not looking for any one type of student. They look for accomplished students who bring a lot to the admissions table. You can see that decisions are made by a combination of objective and subjective factors. And these factors often differ in importance from one college to the next. During the game, notice how some students move closer to admission, closer to me, and others move further away, depending on how a school values each characteristic that I read. Your group of candidates being considered for admission at Primo College, a highly selective college, where at the end of the admission cycle, they can choose only 3 students. If decisions were based on just GPA, it would be easy. All 10 are great candidates, and the committee has to select them based on their personal qualities and qualifications. Let's see how factors other than simply your GPA can influence the decision-making process. As I read each statement, look at your card to see if that particular statement is there. If it's on your card and I tell you to move up, you'll need to step forward first and then move to your right. If it's on your card and I tell you to move down, you'll need to step forward and move to your left. If more than one student is moving up, the highest student must move first and vice versa. Okay, here we go. If you have taken an exceptionally strong academic program full of APs and honors classes, move up 2 spots. All right, I think we all know the importance of taking a rigorous curriculum. If your father and grandfather both attended Primo College, move up 2 spots. So maybe some of you have heard of the term legacy. Colleges really like to have a group of committed alums at their schools. So a student whose family member has already attended, parent, sibling, sometimes grandparents, can have a little bit of a bump up in the admissions process. If you play the oboe or viola, move up 1 spot. Okay, so we never know what's going on inside an admissions office. Sometimes an orchestra may have graduated a student who played the oboe, and that year they're looking for an oboe player or viola player, and you get a bump up in admissions. If you play the flute well enough to be the first chair in the all-state orchestra, move up 2 spots. There you go. So again, any talent that you have is something that's important to bring to a campus, and if you're competing at the state or national or sometimes even international level, that really helps in admissions. If you clearly indicated that this college, Primo College, was your first choice college by applying early decision, move up 2 spots. A plan called early decision, that's a binding agreement between a student and a college that if you're accepted, you'll withdraw all your other applications and attend that college. So typically that application is early in the season, thus early decision, but it's a binding decision, and it can really give an advantage in the admissions process. If your intended major is psychology or pre-med, move down 1 spot. So a college will see an awful lot of majors who want to major in psychology, education, and business, so that puts you in a more competitive pool. So sometimes, if you're interested in something that's a little less typical, that can help. We're not telling you to apply for majors just to get into a college. It needs to be something you're interested in. But if you are interested in something that's not so common, go for it. If your intended major is business, which we do not have at Primo, move down 4 spaces. Oh. I have actually seen that happen. I have seen a student in a small information session in the boardroom here ask a rep about a department, a major that they did not have, and then the rep suggested that the student apply to a different school, which was in the same city. So,
St. John group, please move directly to period 1. Do not stop at your locker. St. John group.
So it's always a good idea before you meet with a rep to go to the website of a college and do a little bit of research. It's very easy to just click majors and minors and see what they've got and what you're interested in. So a word to the wise. If your intended major is Greek, move up 1 spot. Okay. Again, we talked about applying with a very common major. Greek is one that most high schools don't offer, and we don't have it here, but there are lots of different online classes, especially in languages that students can take. You can take a summer program. So if you're interested in the classics, you can easily start as a high school student to do a little bit of Greek, for instance.
St. Peter group, please move directly to period 1. Do not stop at your locker. St. Peter group.
If you ask your teacher at the last minute and get a weaker, hurried, generic letter of recommendation, move down 2 spots. All right, so when you all get to the college process in senior year, we'll advise you to ask for your letters much sooner, months before they're actually due. However, every now and then, a student is waiting until the last minute. And so teachers here write great letters of recommendation, but you really have to give them the time to give colleges the most details and be the best advocates for you. If when you cut and pasted your college essay, you forgot to change the name of the college you were applying to, move down 4 spaces. Okay, so believe it or not, colleges tell us all the time, every year, that students cut and paste and put the wrong college name there. So you've got to be careful. Details count. If your school offered 10 AP courses and you did not take any, even though you were recommended for them because you were worried about lowering your straight A GPA, move down 2 spaces. So colleges tell us that they want students to challenge themselves, but not overwhelm themselves. So you all just went through your course selection process, and we give a lot of advisement here, and many of you were recommended for more AP classes than you can take or should take. But the idea is that always challenge yourself, but make sure that you don't overwhelm yourself. So the question comes up all of the time, well, is it better to get a B in an AP class, or is it better to get an A in a regular class? And colleges will always, I've heard this over and over again, they say the best thing to do is get an A in an AP class. So that's not very helpful. But I would say that as long as you can maintain a good, B plus, even if you don't get an A, you're still better off taking the most challenging curriculum. Because after all, when you're heading off to college, AP essentially means that it's college level. So that shows that you're ready for college, if you're recommended. But remember, here at St. Cecilia, all of our classes are college prep, and all of our classes are rigorous. So students do well in the college admissions process. It's just an individual thing for each girl, and depending upon the selectivity level of college that you're applying to. So Primo's a highly selective. So in this case, they're really going to be looking for students who have stepped up. If you are a varsity athlete and excel at your sport, move up 1 spot. All right, so applicants to colleges are looked at in different pools. And as we mentioned before, when we talked about the oboe or the viola or a language like Greek, colleges have needs for different types of students on their campuses, and they have many of them, many sports teams, which they need to fill. So again, being a recruited athlete can give you a bump in the college application process. If you did not write the optional essay for your college application, move down 2 spots. Okay, so what Dr. Grant and I always say to students is there's no such thing as optional in college admissions. So it's a way that colleges see if you're really interested in attending their school. So a lot of colleges will give out acceptances. They know that a student can only go to one college and you're all applying to usually 6 to 8 or more colleges each year. So that's one way where they can see, oh, is this student actually going to come? It's kind of like a marriage proposal. If we say come, are you actually going to accept our proposal? If the topic of your college essay was the agony of defeat, what I learned from playing sports, move down one spot. Why do you think that is, girls? What kind of an essay would that be?
Common essay topic.
Yeah, so maybe cliched topic. So you have to remember, when it comes time to apply to colleges, some of these admissions officers are going to be reading 1,000 applications, so there's 1,000 essays, and they start to look the same. So boys especially, they tell us, tend to write about sports. So you want to be the one who stands out. If you wrote the essay of the year, the one that was passed around to all the admissions officers because it was so remarkable, move up 3 spaces. Yeah, so the one place really in a college application, and you'll all see this when you get to the time to apply, is your essay. That's the place where you can really speak to the admissions officers. They want to know who you are as a person, what matters to you, what your passions are, and the essay is really the best place. It's the best opportunity for you to be able to do that. If you have worked one steady job since the summer before junior year, and your junior year GPA actually went up, move up 2 spots. All right, so sometimes students think if they're working that that's not a valid extracurricular activity to put on their Common App list, but in fact, colleges really like to see that students are mature, that they're responsible, and committed to something, and that's something that's very impressive when students work in high school and can juggle studies with their job. If you plagiarized your AP US history paper and got caught, sit down. You're out of the competition entirely. Sorry. Yeah, so just like here at St. Cecilia, colleges have an honor code and they take that really seriously. If you will be the first person in your family to attend a 4-year college, move up 2 spots. So colleges like to give a little bit of a boost to kids who have parents who may not have gone through the process themselves. You know, they want to contribute to society and social mobility, and they also understand that you may not have as much support and help at home from your parents. So that can give a student a little bit of a boost in the process. If your senior year course load is noticeably less challenging than your junior year course load, move down 2 spots. All right, so right up through senior year, colleges don't want to see senioritis. I mean, that's the year right before you're heading off to college and they want you to be prepared. So when it comes time to choose those senior classes, again, always challenge yourself academically. Not to overwhelm, but to keep challenging yourselves. If a search on Facebook shows photos of you partying and toasting a friend with a red Solo cup, and no, it doesn't matter that you were pretending, move down 3 spots. All right, I don't think I need to explain that one. Colleges sometimes will look at your presence on social media. Not always, but you just never know. If you participated in no extracurricular activities, move down 2 spots. All right, so again, colleges are looking for students who will be engaged members of their communities. So the girls here at St. Cecilia do really great in this part of the process. You're all officers for different clubs and ambassadors, and you have tons of interest. But these things can really help, especially with scholarships. It's not just admissions, but it's also for scholarships at school. If you participated in a significant community service project or trip, move up 1 spot. So again, colleges are looking for students who really care, who want to change the world and who are good and compassionate people on their campuses. These are the people who make the best students, the best roommates. And so the things that you do here, we know that you do it from your heart. You're not doing these things to get into college, but as it happens, it can really help you to get into college as well. If you have your Girl Scout Gold Award, move up 2 spots. Okay, so we all know that it's not easy to get a Girl Scout Gold Award. That shows a long period of commitment and leadership. So that one is great to have. If you got a D in an academic course at the end of your junior year, move down 3 spots. Okay. All right, well, junior year is important. Colleges are going to look at your grades from all of the time that you've been here, so freshman and sophomore year are important too. But junior year is the one that they focus on a little bit more. So for the sophomores here, give it, and the current juniors who are in their last semester, so give it your all, you're in the final stretch. Most of you will apply to colleges in an early cycle, so the last grades they'll see are the spring semester junior year grades. If you introduce yourself to the Primo College rep when she visited your high school, move up 1 spot. So I'm sure you've all noticed that we've had reps in the front hall and alumni hall and the college counseling center pre-COVID. This past year we had lots and lots of meetings that you would have seen posted on the college counseling whiteboard. So it's important to connect with these reps. They will often be an advocate for you, especially if your application goes to what we call committee, and a group of people will be looking at it, and if they have a relationship with you, they will really push for you. They'll want you to be accepted to the college. So it's an important thing to first meet with the reps to find out more about the school, to make sure that school would be a good match for you, but also just to be really polite and develop that relationship so that they can go to bat for you if it's necessary. And you offered a legitimate explanation for receiving that D in an academic course, move up 1 spot. Okay, so sometimes there are problems out of our control, sometimes there are family situations, illness, and so colleges are always looking at your grades within the context of your story. So if it happens that for some reason you don't get a good grade in your junior year or any other time, that's something that we can explain to colleges if you have a good reason. And that really takes a lot of courage, I think, to approach a rep and just explain it, not blame anybody for grade, but take responsibility. And again, it's holistic admissions, and so the game's not over just because you get a bad grade. If you are a legal resident of Idaho, move up 3 spots. Okay, so that's something we call geographic diversity. If you start to look at college web pages, you'll see they kind of boast about different numbers that they have, their selectivity, and also they like to say, we have students from all 50 states and countries all over the world. So if you're applying to a school in the Northeast and they don't really have very many kids from Tennessee that apply there, that can also give you a little bit of a boost. So something to keep in mind. Not suggesting that we all move to Idaho in senior year. If you took about 5 minutes max filling out your senior college survey on Naviance, move down 2 spots. Okay, so we use that information, the college counselors use that information to write the best letters we can for you and to help you figure out what schools are the best match for you. So when you get to that stage, please be thoughtful. If your junior year grades are better than your sophomore year grades, which were better than your freshman year grades, move up 1 spot. Okay, so again, we went over that. All of your grades count, but the ones in your junior year are the ones that colleges will focus on the most. If you participated in an enriching summer program between your junior and senior years, move up 1 spot. Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry, Rose, I just had to take this call. Oh yes, you know they're speaking. Hello, President Jones. Oh yes, we're finished. We just got our list finished this morning. It looks like a great class. Yeah, we'll be able to take the top 3. Oh, you're kidding. Okay, I understand. I know. make the adjustment. Everybody, I have an announcement to make. I just got an important call from our college president, and we just have to make a little adjustment in the order of things. So your cousin just won another Grammy, and she loves her favorite cousin. And our new Fine Arts Center still doesn't have a name. The Taylor Swift Center for the Arts sounds pretty good. Move all the way to the front, Susanna Swift, and stay there. All right, girls, so you want to put up your cards and everybody can see the GPA and which ones got to the top. So show the audience what your GPAs are. So
wow.
Yeah, so there you go. So thank you so much. That was fun for me to watch you play the game, and we'll have a Zoom session later tonight, and you'll all be able to ask some questions, if you have any questions about the characteristics and why students moved up or down. So who was at the top? What was the GPA? I can't even see. It was 90. Okay, who was 94 and 92. So there you go. So the top three, they're the ones that got in, and I see 98. And so it's not always about the numbers.